I'd like to call to order the Waterworks Board meeting for Wednesday, October 8th, 2025 at 6:38 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Troxel, would you please take roll call?
Yes. Councilman Thomas Schmidt. Here. Councilman Kevin Conley.
Present.
Councilwoman Robin Arvanitis.
Here.
Councilman Caleb Johnson.
Present.
Councilman Rob Getzloff.
Present.
Attorney David Austin.
Present.
Deputy Fire Chief David Meyer.
Here.
Police Chief Pete Sormas.
Here.
Park Superintendent John Novosich. IT AJ Garcia. Nice Engineering Neil Simstad. Here. Public Works Director Chad Nondorf.
Here.
Director of Operations Andy Hansen.
Here.
Town Manager Jim Gorman.
Here.
Recording Secretary Robin Teal. And Clerk Treasurer Michael Troxel present.
Thank you. The Waterworks Board consists of myself, Robin Arvanitis, Tom Schmidt, and Kevin Conley. First on the agenda, we have the minutes of the September 10th, 2025 public meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved 3-0. Next on the agenda, we have claims. Mr. Troxel, do we have any additional claims?
No additional claims, Madam President.
Motion to approve claims.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Claims are approved 3-0. Next on the agenda, we have reports. Are there any staff reports regarding the Waterworks Board meeting? Any staff reports?
No reports, Madam President.
Are there any council reports regarding the Waterworks Board?
No, ma'am.
Moving on, we have no old business. We have no new business. Is there any business from the floor regarding the Waterworks Board? Any business from the floor? Seeing and hearing none, this meeting is adjourned.
I'd like to call to order the Stormwater Board meeting for Wednesday, October 8th, 2025 at 6:41 p.m. The roll call is different than the Waterworks Board. It consists of 3 members also, but those 3 members are myself, Tom Schmidt, and Robin Arvanitis. The first item is the minutes of the September 10th, 2025 public meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes 3-0. Are there any additional claims, Mr. Treasurer?
No additional claims, Mr. President.
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, 3-0. It passes. Are there any reports from staff in regard to the Stormwater Board?
No reports, Mr. President.
Any council member reports?
No.
There is no old business, no new business. Any business from the floor regarding the Stormwater Board? Any business from the floor regarding the Stormwater Board? Hearing none, this meeting's adjourned.
Call to order the Redevelopment Commission meeting for Wednesday, October 8th, 2025. The time is 6:42 p.m. The Redevelopment Commission is comprised of the entire council and Nicole Kelly, our advisor from the Lake Central School Board. Minutes of the September 10th, 2025 public meetings.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Thank you. Claims, Mr. Troxel, any more claims?
No additional claims, Mr. President.
Pleasure of the board.
Motion to pay the claims.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, passes 5-0. Staff reports for redevelopment.
I do have one report, Mr. President. The 22 West Joliet requests for proposals are due Monday, November 3rd at 9 a.m. We're asking that we move that to Friday, January 17th at 9 a.m. This will allow for a more comprehensive marketing initiative to occur for the property, as well as provide potential developers to put together a comprehensive plan for that one.
Okay, do we need a motion for that?
Yeah, I
I'll
would say
entertain a
so.
motion for the extension.
So moved.
We have a motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Jim, anything else?
Nothing else, sir.
All right, thank you.
Mr. President, One comment, Jim, you're going to send the people that have picked up the bid package a letter, correct?
Correct. We will send out an addendum to not only the people who picked up the packets at Town Hall, but also what we've mailed out to everyone.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Jim. Any reports from council members on redevelopment?
No.
All right, hearing none, we don't have any old business or new business. Anything from the floor regarding redevelopment? Any business from the floor? Hearing none, this meeting's adjourned.
Good evening. I'd like to call the Utility Board meeting for Wednesday, October 8th at approximately 6:44 PM. The roll call for the Utility Board stays the same as the redevelopment, all 5 members of the council. First item on the agenda is the minutes from the September 10th, 2025 public meeting.
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Claims, any additional claims for utilities, Mr. Troxel?
No additional claims, Mr. President.
Motion to approve claims?
Second.
We have a motion and a second on claims. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Reports. Any reports from staff regarding utilities?
No reports, Mr. President.
Mr. Hanson, can you give us a report on the Burr Street utilities? Or maybe Chad would rather do that.
The final water main connection will occur tomorrow. The road reconstruction, they're excavating north of 75th. They'll be coming up with soil stabilization in those 2 bad pockets of ground. And after that, the curbing will be installed. They'll start putting new road base in. And in a couple, probably 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you'll see the binder coat of asphalt being laid down. So we're gonna get this thing in, I would guess, second week of November.
Okay.
It's been a rough project with the bad ground and the water main installation. It's been a slow go out there, but things are picking up rapidly.
And I know I can talk to you off record on this, but will there be access to the American Legion for November 4th? Because that is a public voting place.
Yes, there will be access November 4th, and they have 2 events. Next weekend is one of the events, and then a Toys for Tot ride on Saturday, the 18th. I reached out to the project superintendent today from the contracting company, and he is aware of this, that they need to have access at all times.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments from staff? If not, any comments from council?
None.
None. No comments for utilities from council. We have no old business. We'll move right into new business. First item is item A, is considered acceptance of change order number 4 from CSK Architects PC in a credit amount of $11,100 for the biosolids storage building project. Mr. Gorman?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is to eliminate unnecessary foundations that were discovered, and that's per the architect's recommendation. That's the reason for the credit. Thank you.
Very good. We always like credits.
Yep.
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Item B is the award bid for the Kennedy Avenue Lift Station project. Mr. Hanson, or is that Mr. Neal?
It's Mr. Neal.
Mr. Neal. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Jim. The award for the Kennedy Avenue Lift Station number 14 replacement project, we opened bids on Monday this week, October 6th, 9 a.m. We had 2 bidders. The engineer's opinion of probable cost was $800,000, and the bids ranged from $744,820 to $828,250. Upon review of the bid, the recommendation would be to Grimmer Construction Incorporated in the amount of $744,820. Any questions?
And does this consist of a complete replacement?
Yeah, it's a complete replacement, mainly due to the Kennedy Avenue reconstruction project just north of Oak Street on the west side. The town has now acquired all of the property that the lift station did sit on and will currently sit on. And one of the reasons that this is a town-funded project is because back in the day, going on 50 years ago, that project was not in an easement or in a town-owned piece of property, so there was no NDOT reimbursement, which would typically be done under the hardship clause, which I think is 3% of gross utility revenues. So that's why we're at this point, moving the station to the west and to the north, more near Prism Painting rather than from Oak Street, to allow the widening of Kennedy Avenue for the 3 lanes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Hanson, that, the funding of that will come out of the Kennedy Avenue project?
Yeah, Kennedy Avenue TIF. And this will upgrade the station too to our new standards, so. Otherwise, it will be in the middle of the roadway.
Okay, thank you. Pleasure of the council.
Motion to award the bid for the Kennedy Avenue Lift Station project to Grimmer Construction in the amount of $744,820 per the engineer's recommendation.
I'll second.
We have a motion, and I have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll open a business from the floor. Any business from the floor regarding utilities? Any business from the floor regarding utilities? No business. This meeting is adjourned. We'll move right into the town council meeting.
I'd like to call the town council meeting to order for Wednesday, October 8th, 2025, at 6:50. The roll call will stay the same as the utility board. So with that, the pleasure of the board, minutes of the September 10th, 2025 public meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Claims, any additional claims, Mr. Troxel?
No additional claims, Mr. President.
Pleasure of the board.
Motion to approve claims?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Reports. Mr. Gorman, we want to call for
Sure.
reports.
Deputy Chief Meyer, any reports from the fire department?
No report, sir.
Chief Sormas?
Nothing tonight.
Park Superintendent John Novosich?
No report.
Neil Simstad?
Report was previously. Thank you.
Chad Nondorf, Public Works?
Nothing to report.
Andrew Hanson?
Nothing to report.
No reports, Mr. President.
Thank you, Jim. Any reports from council members?
None at this time. No.
Okay. At this time, we have a presentation from Larry Veraco, the Lake Central School Corporation Superintendent. Mr. Veraco?
Thank you. I want to thank the council for inviting me out to share information on this important public question that's on the ballot November 4th. As you know, early voting started yesterday. Before I get into the slides, there kind of are 2 parts to this. The first part I'll zip through to get to the financial piece, which I think is going to be most interesting to the council. But before I even get to that, I just want to share that 2 of the most common questions I've received thus far is, hey, Larry, you were talking about the renewal being in the spring of 26. Why is it happening in the fall of 25? And the other question has been, again, hey, Larry, you said in recent times that the renewal was going to be for the same 17 cents that the 2018 referendum was approved for. Why did the number have to change to 26 cents? Both of those answers have to do with Senate Enroll Act 1, which most of you are familiar with. They prohibited us from going in the spring after calendar 2025. And then the 26.14 cents instead of the 17 cents is in response to the change in the formula. So as my business manager, who's back here in case any technical questions come up, Rob James likes to say, the 26 is the new 17. But it is not designed to add programs to any of our schools. It is not designed as any kind of a windfall. It is to bring in the same revenue as the 17 cents has for the last 7 years. So quickly with the background information, as I've shared this with many parents, booster groups, staff members, et cetera, and a few community members who have asked for individual presentations. Like to review where we are with our assessed value in St. John Township. Of course, St. John Township, you know the map, at least you know you're part of it. And we did have good growth in assessed value last year. Like to share with all of our public that we are above average on graduation rate. That number's even going higher now that we've adjusted our credits down to the state requirement instead of a self-imposed requirement that was 6 credits higher. Like to review for people why we went in 2018. Our schools that we like to be compared to Crown Point, Munster, Valparaiso, Chesterton, they all went in 10 and 11. At that time, we were rebuilding our high school and Protzman. And so when it got to 2018, their salaries had gotten ahead of ours. They started plucking our people. We went to the board and said, I think we should ask our community if we can stay competitive with all these things based on the marketplace. Going into this, we're happy to be able to share some really good data points. Some of you have seen this in the newspaper that we were top of the mark in math SAT scores last summer. This chart just shows how we stack up against our Duneland Conference peers. Here's the English slide. We're still chasing Munster in English. We did get them in math last spring, hoping to be top of the mark in both of those areas after this year. Here's a chart real quickly just showing what's going on in the state while it's trickling down or leveling off. We're happy to report that we're still showing growth. This slide just talks about the iRead test. If any of you watched any of school board meetings from the spring of 2024, or if you heard I was lamenting the retention law, thankfully we were able to get all of our students through, except those with individual learning plans that gave them a good cause exemption. This was good news for us. When I speak to the chamber, I spend a lot of time talking about the opportunities our high school kids have to pursue different things leading up to life after high school. One of the things that we get a lot of credit for is these dual credits our students leave high school with. My son went down to Purdue with 15 credits under his belt. His roommate had 30. So his roommate's working on a minor. A lot of people love that because they can graduate in 3 or 3.5 years, save tuition money. I'm a bigger fan of it because it means we're exposing our kids to challenging content and rigorous curriculum so that they not only get accepted to college, but they go and finish. We're interested in completers more than an acceptance rate. This slide here just is in there because we set a record at our high school last year for AP courses. 956 kids took 1,608 exams. The beauty of the AP course compared to the dual credit is if you get a 4 or 5 on that test at the end of the course, every university in America accepts it. MIT, Stanford, you name it, if you get a 4 or 5, they trust that test and they say, you mastered that content, you're getting those advanced credits. These slides just talk about the opportunities we have for our high school kids that I won't get into tonight to move on to some of the other pieces about the financial piece. But this slide I will pause on for a second just so people remember we're pretty darn good. There's a lot of good things going on at Lake Central, not just in iLearn, which is the standardized test, but with our clubs that are involved in academics, our sports, individual and team, and lots of other stuff. And so it'll speed up here, and then we'll get into the meat and potatoes. But I do want to share with people, we're really proud of the dedication of our staff and how they're able to energize kids to achieve a lot of good stuff, earn a lot of awards, compete very well in ISMA, which is music competition, and IHSAA sports. And so those are things we're very proud of, and we want to keep going. So with that part completed, we'll move on to some basics about school finance. And so we get our money in schools in 2 separate ways. So this is a review for some it may be additional information. But But our education fund, which is all things classroom, teachers, aides, principals, people work at the building, counselors, we get that money from the state in what the General Assembly would call the basic grant. Some of us refer to it as tuition support. For us, last year, it was $6,945 per child. We're fortunate that we have historically been able to keep 94% of that money in the classroom. We don't have to transfer too much over here to cover our operations. For us, our big operation expenses are transportation, custodial maintenance, some small repairs, NIPSCO bills, insurances of all kind. The irony is, as SEA 1 is putting the crimp on our operations fund, they tend to be categories of expenses that inflation is hitting harder, and we really don't have any control over them. They're bills that we need to pay first. We can't not pay those bills, and so it creates a financial burden for us when that revenue gets decreased. That money comes from property tax, and we'll get into a couple of the formulas, which will again be reviewed for some of you, and for maybe some of our streaming families at home, it'll be new information. Before I get into that, though, I just want to say a quick thing about debt service. Some people have said to me, Larry, can't you figure out a way to use some of that debt service money to shore up shortages in any of those areas? And that's not how it works. When you go for a project, you ask for the amount you need for the project, and then when the tax gets applied, every 6 months we get that money. It goes into that bucket there, and within a week or two, Mr. James is sending that to the bank, the transfer agent, who then sends the principal and interest back to the bondholders. There isn't extra money to transfer into operations. So that leaves us with referendum as a potential solution. Before I talk about referendum, though, I think it's important to review where Lake Central fits on that tuition support piece. So on this chart, you'll see Zionsville at the bottom, Zionsville being the lowest funded school district in the state at $6,724 per child, the state average being $7,468. You'll see some other area schools populate this field now. The lowest funded school district in the region is Munster at $6,887. The highest, Gary at $9,010. They're fifth in the state on funding. And the 4 school systems that get more than Gary are all charter schools, 2 of which are virtual charter schools. And then Lake Central comes in down here at 341st, $6,945 per child. Last year, had we gotten the average of what people got in tuition support, we would have had $4.6 million more to work with in our general fund. And I'll ask you to keep that number in mind when you think about how much we've been bringing in through our referendum. And then I think it's important just to note that all of those other schools that we listed there, they also have referenda supporting operations from their communities. This is some interesting information since the state took over the general fund, which is now called the education fund. That amount we get per child back in '09 was $49.50. It grew to $69.45 last year, a 40.3% increase, which sounds pretty good until you consider the inflation rate during that same period of time, which was 52.26%. And so, again, if you would say if the tuition support had kept pace with inflation, we would have received last year an additional $5.2 million to support our school system. So the 5.2 with the 4.6 gets us to 9.8. Our referendum currently is bringing in around $11 million. I've had some people ask me on this slide, why do you think they haven't kept pace with inflation? And while they don't have any reports out on it, my firm belief is that it has to do with the voucher program that carved out 4% of the state budget for people who attend private schools. And so they'll tell you that the amount of money going to education is still 47% of the state budget, but 4% of the state budget is now going to private schools, whereas back in 2010, it was 0. This was the question on the 2018 ballot, and we have it on there just to share how some of these questionings can be, in my opinion, misleading and certainly less clear than they could be. But in this part of the question, the last time when it said our tax rate would not exceed 17 cents on each $100 of assessed valuation, we said, well, it should say net assessed valuation. And they said, no, it's going to say assessed valuation, and you'll have to explain that however you want to. So that was the question on the ballot last time, and that's what we didn't like. This is a chart that I like to share with the chamber, and it's in here just to let everybody know that we do keep score. We pay attention to where our school tax rate is. Would we like for it to be the lowest? Sure, but we also want to provide good services, so it's hard to be the lowest. If you look at these two districts that are below us, they have no debt service because they haven't built anything in 20 years. The people who everyone wants to compare us to all the time, the Crown Points and the Munsters, their school tax rate is 122, 127, so 50% higher. If you have your same home in one of those two communities, your school tax rate is significantly higher. And I'll say this here, that we also have been sharing with our boosters and our parents and our staff, if we had our towns listed here, people would also be proud of that because all three of our towns are near the bottom of the taxing rate for the total tax rate in Lake County. So when people look at their tax bill, they're not just saying, what's the school tax rate? They're saying, what's my total tax bill with county and town and school and maybe a little piece for library? And so it is good to know that our towns also, and part of it's because of assessed valuation, but part of it is also because they're keeping score. And I think it's just important to share that. These things popping up in red are just some of the other districts in Lake County who tried to seek additional support but were unsuccessful. This is how the current formula works, though. So it is based on net assessed value. So our current referendum at 17 cents, if we use an example of a home valued at $300,000, if the people live in the home, they get the homestead exemption or deduction, excuse me, $48,000, and then they get the supplemental deduction. So the net assessed value is $157,500. That's the number you divide by the 100, and that's the number you multiply by the 17. And so off that home, we've been getting $268 a year in additional support. We had some people the last time said, when I went in the booth and it said assessed value, I know my home is valued at $500,000. I divided it by 100, and I thought you lied to me that my tax was going to be way higher than what you said in that presentation, so I voted no. So I think it's important that people realize that it is based on net assessed value, not assessed value. If you like doing math vertically like me, you like looking at the 300 minus the 48 minus 94.5, get you to that. Same number, 268. If this were a one-year shift in the tax formula and the supplemental deduction was going from 37.5 to 40, you can see that the net assessed value would drop a little bit lower, and the 17 cents would generate $11 less on that property. If that's all it was, we wouldn't be having this conversation. That would be minimal and we'd eat it. But as you can see on this chart, what happens over time is that the net assessed value continues to go down until eventually it's 1/3 of the assessed value. And so it's a much more significant decrease to our revenue, because while the homestead deduction does phase out, and that will lead to a higher net assessed value, this supplemental deduction going from 37 to 66.7 is pretty devastating. And I know that many of you know this already because you've looked at how it's going to impact you. In chart form, then, we were slow and steady, seeing this go up, keeping pace with inflation, the impact of post-SEA1. And I find it interesting that during the session, they were saying it's not going to be a decrease, it's going to be a decrease to your increase. You're going to get smaller increases. Well, when we run the numbers, it is a decrease. And I'm going to show you some slides that we got directly from our vendor, but I know that many counties, many cities and towns across the state have engaged with Policy Analytics, a firm out of Indianapolis that has every parcel of land, every property in the state in a database. And so they're able to look at, over the next 6 years, what is the impact of this formula changing to every school? And they projected that our loss, due to the change, would come out to about $5.5 million a year. That's changing of the current property values and the current referendum. That doesn't say, and if the taxpayers say no to you in this fall, you're losing the 11 million too. This is the question on the ballot this year, and it's rather lengthy, so we'll look at it in chunks. The first part of it doesn't give us any heartburn. It's for 8 years, just like the last time. It's to sustain. Remember, we're not adding programs. It's no windfall for the district. The 26.14 is what Policy Analytics said we need to charge, or we need to levy in order to bring in the same amount over the next 8 years that the 17 cents has been bringing in. We were kind of happy that they let us put this part about in response to reductions in property tax revenue, because that's the truth. That's why the number had to change. The second part of the question, recruiting and retaining teachers and staff, essential student health and safety, that's the 3 extra cops we added after 2018. So we now have 5 SROs, school resource officers, protecting our 10 buildings. That's the students we serve. We want to maintain the class sizes where they are, and I don't know what happened there. This is the part of the question that's troubling, okay? 26 cents, obviously different than 17. And this part of the question, again, troubles us. The property's annual bill would increase by $474 per year. We said, wait a second, that $350 valued home is already paying $299. Why doesn't that not say $175? Because the $350,000 median residence is already paying $299 on the current referendum. And they said, well, when you go to this number and you change it from 17, you get the form of the question that looks like it's a brand new referendum. So you got work to do to explain to people that it's really not going up by 474. It's really going up by the difference of that 9 cents, which gets complicated for people who haven't studied this thing or really looked at it. And then the last part of the question here just lets us say that, hey, you supported us the last time. I'm glad they let us leave that in there, because I'm hoping people say, well, the corporation's been running well, their scores are getting better, their kids are successful, they're not perfect, they have work to do. But the school corporation is solid, they're contributing to the quality of life in our community and in partnership with the towns. They're making a good place to live, property values are solid and growing, and homes turn over quick when people need to move for whatever reason. So we're happy that that part stayed in there. This just shows the 17-cent impact versus the 26-cent impact on that median value home, from 302 to 446. If we combine those two charts, it ends up being $144 extra. And then this chart is just using Dyer, because Dyer has the highest tax rate of our 3 towns. But that median value home with the credit, they would still get a tax savings. The school corporation is just clawing a chunk of it back. So here's another chart that shows, and the reason I've added this, because I want people to realize that within 6 years, only 1/3 of the home's value will count for taxes. So if you look at this, the standard deduction, it phases out, okay? We showed that before. Here's the supplemental deduction, but here's the percentage of the home that is taxed. And it ends up at 33.3 by 2031. And so that $300,000 home, again, is taxed at, with a net assessed value of $100,000. Now, we haven't talked in the presentation about the credit, which is also a big piece of the recent law. And the credit is based on net assessed value, and it's they get up to $300 or 10% of the net assessed value. And when it was being tossed around last spring, we said to some of our elected officials at the state level, hey, if it's for the retiree on a fixed income, we sort of get it, but we don't quite get it for the working people. I'll get off my presentation for a minute to say that these waves are crashing on the town's shore too, and the towns are going to suffer and have to make up the shortfall somehow, and I'm not sure switching to other form of taxes is as clean or as steady as the property tax. And so, we hate to see that. This is a chart from Policy Analytics, which shows what the net assessed value projection will be based on the current changes in the formula. And so here's assessed valuation, and here's the old rule where you see it sort of, that gap sort of stays the same, but now here's with the new rules, how that changes, which puts pressure on us. If we want to keep providing the services we're providing, we have to change our tax rate. And for you'll have to add a new tax of some form that will have to be scientifically calculated to the best of your ability to maintain services. None of us want fewer police or firemen. None of us want the roads not to be fixed regularly, and none of us want you to cut parks maintenance and park programs. And so that's the part of the chart where you can see it does have a significant impact on the net assessed value upon which the tax is based, and that's why in our model we're asking for a higher tax rate. You've seen this chart already once. This one just applies the numbers. I won't dwell on it this evening, other than again to say, look in those first 2 years how we go down before we start to see any growth at all when it comes to paying for the very bills where we see inflation and which we have no control over. You've seen that chart as well already, so I'll jump over that. This is the DLGF screenshot, the worksheet that we complete to see how this new law is going to impact us. So what happens to us with the tax cap? If you blow that up a little bit, you can see that for us, it was a minimal impact through the tax cap until the new law kicks in next year. The projected credit loss, here's where we're getting hammered, right down here at the supplemental homestead credit. That's the biggest chunk of the cap loss for us. Again, you can see that it was minimal for us leading up to what we're projecting for the next year. And this isn't a Lake Central, this is putting the stuff right into the DLGF worksheet. And we took a minute to look at what it was going to be for all of you, just to say that we're paying attention to this too. And so yours is really de minimis leading up to next calendar year, where again, that supplemental homestead credit loss is going to make a dent in your budget. And that's what we're contending with. And I'm not going to look at Dyer because I'm going to see them next week. So I can't emphasize enough that we're trying to be as scientific as we can to protect ourselves, but not to ask for more. The 17 cents has really helped us elevate our status in the region. It's helped us, especially with academic things and with school safety, and those are things that we don't want to see go away. And so, we're on a campaign where we're canvassing, we're knocking on doors. I'm sharing this information with parents and booster clubs. I was at the Schererville or the St. John Dyer Chamber today. I'll be at Schererville Chamber and Dyer Council next week because they've invited me. And, we want to be as transparent as we can be about this. It gets tricky to make estimates after year one, as all of you know. But it is important that the question says a maximum of 26 cents. And if by chance the General Assembly looks at this and makes adjustments to that formula that is so damaging, our board approves the 26 cents annually as part of their budget approval in the fall, which they just did. And so we could adjust it down because we've said we're doing this to maintain our revenue equal to what the 17 cents was bringing in, and that's our objective. So with that, I take any questions any council member had. And let me say one more thing. You know, if you know somebody who's not here or not viewing and they're interested in this presentation, if you send them my way, I'll be happy to share the information with them in groups of 1 or 5 or whatever. Thank you.
So Larry, say this doesn't pass, what happens then?
Well, you look at what you added since 2018, and you know, it's 3 policemen, it's a number of counselors, it's some teachers at the lowest levels, because we like to have our kindergarten and first grade class sizes really small. And then there's 12 to 13% of staff salaries that came from this. So, you know, the thing is, last summer, in response to a reduced number of students, we did cut 17 positions, 1.4 million in expenditures, and we'll continue to do that all the time, but it's gonna mean cutting $11 million, somehow.
Council members?
No questions?
Larry, I just wanted to say I appreciate you coming here. I wanted you to come here. I wanted to reach out to staff to have you come here. I appreciate the presentation. I support the schools. My kids go to the schools currently and have for a year. I graduated from Lake Central in '95, so I love it. And I appreciate the last thing you said today, which was my big concern that I brought to you when I spoke to you last about this. The fact that if this law changes, if you aren't in a position that you're losing X amount of dollars, that the board will hopefully reduce what they're asking for and what's on that line item. I think that's essential to make sure the public understands that this can change.
Well, the board knows what I'm saying in public. I mean, they've heard the presentation too. So they haven't said, don't say that. So I'm confident that the objective here is, we're pretty excited because we had a really good academic year last year, and then all of a sudden, boom, right when we're getting like our best results ever, this thing gets thrown at us. And it's like, okay, well, if we stick with 17 cents, then we're gonna win, and then we're still gonna cut stuff from people. And the way we got better was by adding bodies, reading specialists and counselors and all those people that help kids move on through K to 12. And so we said, we think the ask is, let us keep doing what we're doing. Not more, but not less. Thanks, Caleb.
Thank you, sir.
Robin? any
Yeah,
questions?
Mr. President?
Tom?
Yeah, Larry, it was a very, very good presentation, a lot of information on there. You should, yeah, your staff and yourself should be praised for what you're telling us and showing us the real facts and everything. So we appreciate that. And me personally, naturally, I support Lake Central Schools. So.
Well, and you know, I think along the same lines as what Mr. Johnson was saying, we have to be cognizant of being a good partner with our towns. Our towns are going to have to do an adjustment too. And so it's important that we continue to keep score and watch that school tax rate and make sure that it's proportional to where it should be.
Robin?
Thank you. There was one particular slide that I want to ask you afterwards if I could either have a copy of or have that printed so it's easier to explain to people when they're asking questions, because it kind of shed some light when I was able to look at it that way. So
Okay.
afterwards.
I have some handouts I can give to you. It might be in
It's
there.
probably on there, yes, that
Yeah.
would be wonderful.
I
Thank
should have
you.
passed them out before I spoke, but I'll get them to you here.
Thank you.
Well, it was a good presentation. We appreciate your time. I know you got a lot of work ahead of you. you know, we are in full support, or at least, you know, Tom, myself, and other members, I'm sure, up here. You know, we're going to encourage people to go out and vote for Lake Central, and, because that vote is important, and hopefully everything will turn out well.
Well, thank you. We've always had great support and relations with town of Schererville, so we appreciate that very much.
Thank you,
for
Larry.
your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you, Larry.
At this time, I will take public comments regarding agenda items tonight. Anybody? Anybody regarding agenda items tonight? One more call for agenda items on the floor. Hearing none, the floor is closed. Under old business, we have ordinance 2029, the adoption of the 2026 civil town budget. This is the second reading. Jim?
I'll
Or Mike?
defer to Clerk Treasurer Troxel on this one, Mr. President.
Go ahead, Mike.
Mr. President, yes, thank you. As introduction, this is the second public hearing held on the town municipal proposed 2026 budget. During last month's public hearing of the notice to taxpayers, there were no oral remonstrations, nor were any written remonstrations received on the 2026 Schererville civil budget. The town council is ready to move forward with the adoption of the ordinance 2029. The 2026 general budget is figured with an increase of 4.25%. The DOGF has stated that the maximum growth levy factor will be about 4% for 2026. We expect some downward adjustments to this adopted budget, on this adopted budget. Property tax rate proposed is 0.6191%. After expected DLG adjustments, the property tax rate is expected to be around 0.4676. In comparison to last year, we propose a tax rate of 0.5012 and is reduced to 0.4969. At this time, Mr. President, the motion is to adopt ordinance number 2029, the 2026 Schererville civil town budget, and authorize the clerk treasurer to submit all documents through the Gateway portal for review, certification, and approval by the Department of Local Government Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Troxel. Pleasure of the board.
Motion to adopt ordinance 2029.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Quiet.
Thank you.
Under new business, ordinance 2031 is an ordinance amending the miscellaneous town police department fee schedule for release of towed vehicles and unclaimed vehicles, repelling town ordinance number 1688 and town ordinance number 1993, and all matters related hereto. Jim?
I'm going to defer to the Director of Operations, Andy Hanson,
Okay, Andy?
on the next two items.
Okay?
Yeah, this comes from the Board of Safety as a 5-0 recommendation. This would raise the tow release fee from $40 to $50, and also does the same for the unclaimed vehicle fee.
Okay, thank you. Pleasure of the board.
Motion to approve ordinance 2031.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Ordinance number 2032 is an ordinance amending fees for police department incident reports, accident reports, photographs, vehicle identification number checks, and electronic capture information, and repelling town ordinance number 1533 and town ordinance number 1713, and all matters related thereto. Andy?
This also comes from the Board of Safety and a 5-0 recommendation. This would raise the following fees. Accident reports were $8, they'll now be $12. Photographs were $7, will now be $15. Audio-video fees were $2 and $1 respectively. They will now be $100 for 60 minutes or less in length, and $150 for over 60 minutes in length. It also establishes a non-refundable advance request fee of $50, which will be required for each electronic reproduction, including email requests. The fee covers research of the request, retrieval of the information, copying, and production of the request. Said fee will be applied to the total charge of the electronic reproduction. So for example, if you request body camera video for 3 officers that were on a scene, 2 videos are 45 minutes and 1 is 75 minutes, a $50 non-refundable advance request fee for each body camera video shall be paid. So $50 times 3, which is $150. And the total cost for the electronic reproduction is $350, leaving a balance of $200. The 350 minus the 150 equals the 200. The balance is due when the electronic reproduction is obtained. This is significantly changed due to the body cameras that are just going into use currently. This fee was needed to take the time and effort that's needed to review each of these requests.
Okay. Thank you very much, Andy. Pleasure of the board.
Motion to approve ordinance 2032.
Second.
Have a motion and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Ordinance 2033 is an ordinance repelling ordinance number 1266, ordinance number 1266A, ordinance number 1266B, ordinance number 1578, ordinance number 1578A, ordinance number 1608, ordinance number 1608A, ordinance number 1726, ordinance number 1750, ordinance number 1925, ordinance number 1933, ordinance number 1956, ordinance number 1956A of the town of Schererville, and replacing the same by adopting and establishing a personnel policy for the town of Schererville, Lake County, Indiana, first reading.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, this is an update for the town personnel policy. The last policy we did, I believe, was in 1994, and it includes major changes like holiday pay, vacation, sick days, FMLA, and other changes that are related to the new laws.
Okay. Pleasure of the board.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Schmidt.
first of all, Mr. Gorman, I'd like to compliment you and your staff on, I read that whole policy and went through it, and of course, we talked about several items that I had questions about, and I just wanted to compliment your staff on getting that done. And I believe years ago, I was on that committee way back in the early 90s that put the other one together. So that goes back a long time. So
Thank you,
guys
Mr. Schmidt.
You guys did a great job, and it was easy to read and well put together.
Thank you so much.
So I move to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
Second, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Award bid for Kennedy Avenue Lift Station Project from Utility Board agendas. So pleasure of the board.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Consider approval to purchase property located at 232 through 248 Kennedy Avenue, Schererville, Indiana, from Dean's Properties LLC in the amount of $155,800. It is a right-of-way and temporary right-of-way. And to authorize the town manager, director of operations, clerk treasurer, and town attorney to finalize execution of documents, Phase 3, Parcel 3, Kennedy Avenue Improvement Project. Jim?
I'll defer to Andy again.
Okay, thank you.
This is for the Kennedy Avenue project, Phase 3, Parcel 3. It's shown in purple on the projector here. It's Dean's Landscaping. It's for the amount of $155,800. This amount was based on the appraisal. This is purchasing right-of-way and temporary right-of-way for the Kennedy Avenue expansion.
Pleasure of the board.
Mr. President?
Yes, Mr. Schmidt.
And Andy, when you say temporary right-of-way, what does that mean?
So that basically is just allowing us to transition their driveway temporarily while we build the road. So it might be an elevation change or something to that degree.
Okay, thank you. Move to approve, Mr. President.
Second.
Okay, motion is second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Consider acceptance of change order number 4 from CSK Architects PC in a credit amount of $11,100 for the Soil Storage Building project. This has been from the utility board, so we just need to vote again on it.
Motion
Pleasure
to
of the board.
approve.
Motion,
Second.
second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Consider acceptance of donations for $1,847.98. Mr. Troxel.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, these were collected through the month of September to the Animal Control Fund. You got the HPD donated an in-kind bag of dry dog food, value of $850. Bill donated a large bag of dog food in-kind, $53. Anonymously cat food and accessories, that in-kind value was $85. Kim and Tim, dog and cat food, in-kind value $35. Anonymous dog food, litter, cat food, and treats and toys, that value was $200. Nanfelt kitten food and toys, that value was $30. Anonymous dog food, leashes, coats, harnesses, and towels, that value was $300 of in-kind. Zellers donated some laundry soap, that value was $25. Christine donated used towels, that value was $20. Anonymously, we had a donation of used towels, $10. Anonymously, bleach, vinegar, and laundry soap, value of $20. And Jennifer donated cat carrier and a dog bed, value of $130. Total in-kind value to animal control, $1,758. To the Willow Fund, Pamela Eldridge donated $15. To the donation fund of the police department, Cindy Farini, 2 trays of assorted cookies, 2 trays of Brookies, maybe it's supposed to be cookies.
No, they're
As-
brownie cookies.
Is that what they are?
Yeah, brownie cookies,
I
man.
never heard that.
Oh, yeah, they're
word of
good.
that. Brookies. I learned something
Again,
today.
I didn't get the invite. What's up with this?
I didn't get any Brookies. As a thank you for the vacation watch, that in-kind value was $41.96. And Georgette Depew donated a bag of Albanese gummy bears to the police department.
You missed that one,
$10 value. So total in-kind donations
Never
was
get the invite.
$51.96. National Night Out donation received to the Schererville Police Department, Albert's tip jar, was a total of $23.02. So for the recap, total in-kind donations for the month of September, $1,809.96. Total monetary donations, $38.02, for a grand total of $1,847.98. Thank you very much for all who donated.
Pleasure of the board.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. At this time, I will take any business from the floor. Any business from the floor? Any business from the floor? Hearing and seeing none, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Have a safe night.